Thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. We start tonight with the historic conviction of a former U.S. president. A Manhattan jury found Donald Trump guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. This is the first time in history any former president has been found guilty of a crime. Deliberations lasted less than 12 hours. CBS News correspondent Michael George has more from the courthouse.
Moments after his historic conviction, former President Donald Trump denounced the verdict, finding him guilty of all 34 counts in connection with a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
People gathered here outside the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse expressed their opinions about this history-making verdict.
And just to see that, a president can be found guilty, a president can be held accountable, I think is an incredible show of democracy.
This is political prosecution, and there's absolutely nothing behind this case. And I hope they appeal it.
During the trial, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, helped prosecutors draw a link between Trump and charges he falsified business records to disguise reimbursements for a $130,000 payment. Prosecutors argued that was to buy Daniels silence about an alleged 2006 sexual encounter with Trump. Trump denies the encounter ever took place. In closing arguments, Trump's lead attorney called Cohen the MVP of liars.
They knew that they didn't always have perfect evidence, but every moment they tried to say, we're backing it up. You don't just have to believe Michael Cohen. Look at what everybody else is telling you as well.
The judge set Trump's sentencing for July 11th, 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Like all things Trump, this is unprecedented.
This verdict has left a lot of us with a lot of unanswered questions about what this means for the presidential election. Our Nicole Hernandez talked with a political science expert to get some answers tonight, and here's what she learned.
Political science professor James Long and I talked about a lot. One thing, no matter what happens with the sentencing, this will affect the presidential election. Long said both Trump and Biden will try to use this guilty verdict to their advantage in the race. But Professor thinks we could start to see Trump slip in the polls because of the number of people who have said they'll support him unless he's found guilty.
I think what'll be interesting to watch is the degree to which the other Republicans in down the ballot races and local races either continue to sort of support him and be a vocal proponent of his, or try to distance themselves.
We also talked about what could happen at Trump's sentencing on July 11th. He could get anywhere from no time to 4 years of jail time for each of the 34 counts. But Professor Long says the judge will probably consolidate those charges, meaning Trump would face 0 to 4 years total. To decide, he says the judge will look at Trump's behavior through the trial and the history of cases like this in New York.
I do understand that people have served time in jail in New York for more or less the same charges.
And the big question I had for Professor Long, what happens to the presidential race if the judge decides to sentence Trump to jail time? He told me there's nothing set in stone, but a legal opinion from the Nixon administration says this.
The president could be in jail and run for president, even be elected, but they could not serve as president from jail.
That opinion focuses on federal charges, though. So no matter what, the courts will have to decide what happens if Trump gets jail time and is elected. Here are some of the options. 1, the courts could release Trump for his presidential term, then make him finish his sentence when his term is over. 2, they could invoke the 25th Amendment, saying he's incapable of being president and hand power down to his vice president. Or 3, Trump could step down himself.
I don't think he would, because he would like the protections that come with it, and it would allow him, should he be elected, to at least get rid of the federal charges.
Even though Trump's sentencing is before Election Day, Professor Long says Trump will likely appeal the decision. Plus, there's still the other federal charges Trump is facing as well. So either way, voters are going to have to decide with a lot of things up in the air. In studio, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
There was some confusion about how today's verdict would be reached after several social media posts claimed that Judge Juan Marchand told the jury they didn't need to unanimously find Trump guilty. That confusion carried over into today when even after Trump was convicted, posts like this one from Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville claimed that, quote, the lack of unanimous verdict made this trial a complete joke, unquote. So we looked into it. Our sources are the New York State court system, the Associated Press, and Judge Juan Marchand. Turns out Tuberville's claim and many similar ones across Instagram and Twitter misrepresent the judge's instructions. In a jury trial, according to New York law, the verdict must be unanimous to either convict or acquit. In this case, Judge Marchand gave the jurors 3 possible ways in which Trump may have broken the law. He said each juror had to find that at least one of those ways happened, but they didn't have to agree on which ones. And that's exactly what happened today. All 12 jurors agreed that Donald Trump broke the law. So we can verify any claims stating that this was not a unanimous conviction are false. Emotions ran high this afternoon after another high-profile verdict was read. Chad Daybell guilty on all counts. Daybell is guilty of killing his late wife Tammy and his stepchildren, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. It was a case that Idaho prosecutors said was fueled by power, sex, money, and apocalyptic views. But now all family and friends of the victims feel is relief.
I was praying for a just verdict, and we got it.
The pressure's been taken off your shoulders, just knowing that the verdict's done, he's there, he's not getting out.
With this guilty verdict, Daybell faces the death penalty. Chad's current wife, Lori Vallow, was sentenced to life in prison last summer for the same crimes. She'll go to trial again in August, this time in Arizona, on different charges. All right, another big headline today, our forecast. We are heading into another cold night, but waking up to sunshine. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Lagoon joining us now with details. Jeremy?
Well, when it comes to that sunny morning, it's also going to be a cold one. We have frost advisories and freeze warnings in effect through 8 a.m. tomorrow. Basically, temperatures are going to be about where they were earlier today. Overnight, we'll watch them fall all the way down to near 40 degrees, but look at how quick we warm up. From dipping to near 40 around 5 or 6 a.m., we climb into the 60s by 11, 70s by noon. It is going to be a quick turnaround. What starts out as a rather cool day across the inland northwest will quickly warm up. Notice, none of these temperatures are down below freezing. That being said, you move out of the valleys, out into the valleys, out of town centers, you will see those temps dive. 71 tomorrow here in town with plenty of sunshine to boot. 73 on Saturday as clouds make their way back in, and by Sunday we don't hit 70, but we're in the upper 60s, which is still pretty much normal for this time of year, ahead of our next round of rain that arrives Sunday night.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show. Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Moses Lake School District announcing another round of layoffs today, less than a month after announcing a major accounting error contributed to a $20 million budget shortfall. It plans to reduce its staff by another 85 positions across various departments after the district already gave out non-renewal notices to 100 teachers and support staff. The new round of layoffs will impact classified staff, meaning positions that do not require certification, like office staff and custodians. In total, the district will eliminate about 200 positions, but 100 of those non-renewal notices may be canceled if other budget cuts free up the funds. A cash reward is being offered for information about a missing Spokane County man, according to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. 62-year-old Robert Abbott was last seen in the Spokane area back on April 1st. KREM 2 spoke exclusively with Abbott's wife just days after his disappearance.
I need answers. I need my husband. I need my friend. I need his family to come forward. I need someone. I mean, we need more people to help us find Robert.
Abbott has white hair, hazel eyes. He's about 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighs about 165 pounds. If you have any information or tips on Abbott's disappearance, you're asked to call the Crime Stoppers tip line. That number is right there at the bottom of your screen. Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown proposed a plan to move the city from an annual to a biennial budget process as it works to address a budget shortfall. This means the city's finance department would budget for a 2-year time period rather than a 1-year period. If passed by city council, that change would start next year. And that was your night beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.